Good morning students. This is a video for the students of class 8th subject science. We were studying chapter number 7, that is conservation of plants and animals. This is your lecture number 4. This is summary lecture. So we will summarize the complete chapter in this lecture. Our first topic is biodiversity. We know that Earth is the only planet that supports life. A huge variety of plants and animals are found on the Earth. And this huge variety of plants and animal species on the Earth is termed as biodiversity. What is biodiversity? I am repeating. Huge variety of plants and animal species on the Earth is termed as biodiversity. Now, species. How can we define species? The group of living organisms which is capable of interbreeding is called a species. Means the group of a population which is capable of interbreeding is called a species. And all members of a species depend on each other, directly or indirectly. Therefore, we can say that every organism is important for maintaining the ecological balance. Like, can you imagine what would happen if all the scavengers and decomposers disappear from the Earth? What would happen? The Earth would be full of dead bodies in a few months. It means what? That scavengers and decomposers are also important for maintaining the balance. Means every organism is important for maintaining the ecological balance on the Earth. Thus, biodiversity is very important. Now next topic is flora and fauna. Means biodiversity consists flora and fauna. Now what is the meaning of flora and fauna? The plants growing in a particular area, like the plants growing in Himachal Pradesh, in Rajasthan or in any other area, is termed as its flora. Okay, and the animals found in a particular area is termed as fauna. For example, trees of guava, pine tree, oak tree, bamboo and deodar forms flora of Himachal Pradesh. It means these plants are only found in the regions of Himachal Pradesh. So, they forms the flora of Himachal Pradesh. And the example of fauna is like tiger, Nilgai, Chinkara, Sambar forms the fauna of Rajasthan. Means these are the animals which are found in Rajasthan, like not in Haryana or not in our regions. So these are the animals which are found in the regions of Rajasthan. So they form the fauna of Rajasthan. Okay. Now next topic is ecosystem. What is an ecosystem? Ecosystem refers to the interaction of organisms with one another and with their environment in which they occur. It means ecosystem refers to the interaction of an organism with another organism and with their environment. Like every organism interact with the components of the environment, like air, water, minerals and soil. Okay, they interact with the components of the environment. So this community of living organisms, okay, is known as ecosystem. Means an ecosystem is a community of living organisms like plants, animals, microbes with the non-living components of the environment, means their interaction with the non-living components of the environment like air, water, soil. Okay, so they form ecosystem. Okay, their interaction refers to the ecosystem. Now next term is biosphere. What is biosphere? The biosphere is the part of earth where living organisms exist. Okay, it is a part of earth where living organisms exist. It can also be called the zone of life on the earth. Means in this zone, life is possible. All the living organisms are come under this zone. Means under this biosphere, and is a self-regulating system. So, what is biosphere? Part of earth where living organisms exist, or we can say it is a part of earth where life is possible. Now our next topic is types of species. See, we have already discussed that the group of living organism which is capable of interbreeding is called a species. So now in this topic we will study the different types of species. So first is endemic species. Some species of plants and animals are found exclusively in a particular area. Means in particular area some plants and animals are found on a large scale. Such species are called endemic species. For example, sal and wild mango are the endemic flora of the Panchmari Biosphere Reserve. This is the name of biosphere. Okay. And bison, Indian giant squirrel are endemic fauna of this area. Second is extinct species. Some species of plants and animals which do not exist anymore on the earth are known as extinct species. Okay. What are extinct species? Some species of plants and animals which do not exist anymore on the earth are known as extinct species. For example, dinosaur and dodo. They are the example of extinct species. Now next is endangered species. Some species of plants and animals that are at a high risk of becoming extinct are called endangered species. Means their number have been reduced due to many reasons, like due to hunting or due to destruction of their habitats. Okay, for example, Indian rhinoceros, crocodile and blue whale are endangered species. Next type of species is vulnerable species. Some species of plants and animals that have high chances of becoming endangered species are called vulnerable species. For example, spotted deer, Pacific seahorse and leopard vipere. These are few examples of vulnerable species. Now next is rare species. These species which are present in small numbers are called rare species. For example, golden cat, great Indian hornbill. These are few examples of rare species. Next type is threatened species. Means endangered, vulnerable and rare species together are termed as threatened species. For example, Bengal tiger, sea turtle are some examples of threatened species. So these are some types of species. Now our next topic is Red Data Book. Now what is Red Data Book? It is a book in which we record all the endangered species of plants and animals. Means we maintain a record of all endangered species of plants and animals. Okay, so a Red Data Book is a record of all endangered species of plants and animals. It is published by International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resource. Its short name is IUCN. I for International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resource. And the first Red Data Book of animals was compiled in 1991. And the IUCN re-evaluates the category of each species every 5 years if possible, or at least every 10 years. Its main aim is to convey the urgency of conservation issues to the public, as well as to help the international community to reduce species extinction. Okay. So I am repeating, Red Data Book is a book in which we maintain a record of all endangered species of plants and animals. Now our next topic is protected areas. Means to protect flora and fauna and their habitats, the government of India has created some protected areas. And protected areas include national parks, wildlife sanctuaries and biosphere reserves. Now first protected area is national parks. National parks are protected land areas preserved in natural conditions to provide natural habitat and resources to wildlife. Means it is a protected land areas, okay, and it provided natural conditions to natural habitat and resources to wildlife. Means it provide natural conditions, natural habitat and resources to wildlife. The first national park in India is Jim Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand, which was set up in 1936. Now the table shows some other important national park in India. This table is showing some other important national park in India. First is Kanha National Park, and in which state this national park? Madhya Pradesh. It is in Madhya Pradesh. Now next is Beetla National Park. It is in Jharkhand. Now Tabua National Park. It is in Maharashtra. And next is Simplipal National Park, which is in Odisha. So these are some national parks. Okay. Means they are found in India. Now next protected area is Wildlife Sanctuary. It is an area where animals are protected from any disturbance to them and their habitat. In such area, capturing and killing of animals, means hunting, are strictly prohibited. However, collection of minor forest products like wood, harvesting of timber and cultivation are granted so far as it does not interfere with the life of wild animals. But capturing and killing of animals are strictly prohibited. Now this table is showing some wildlife sanctuaries in India. So first is Gir Sanctuary, which is in Gujarat. Sultanpur Bird Sanctuary, located in Haryana. And Periyar Sanctuary is in Kerala. Bandipur Sanctuary is in Karnataka. So these are some wildlife sanctuary located in India. Now next protected area is Biosphere Reserve. It is a large protected area of the land for the conservation of wildlife, plant and animal resources and traditional life of tribals living in the area. And the main of the Biosphere Reserve is to conserve biodiversity and to maintain ecological balance. A biosphere reserve may contain national parks and sanctuaries, so it is much larger than a national park or a sanctuary. For example, Pachmari Biosphere Reserve consists of the Satpura National Park and the Bori and Pachmari Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay, means a biosphere reserve may contain national parks and sanctuaries and much larger than a national park or a sanctuary. So these are some protected areas. Okay, first is national park, second is wildlife sanctuary and third is biosphere reserve. Okay, and these areas protect flora and fauna and their habitat. Okay, and they protect the plants and animals to become extinct. Okay. First topic is Project Tiger. This Project Tiger was launched by the Government of India in 1973. And what is the aim of this project? To save tiger from extinction due to illegal hunting. Okay. And this project has helped in strengthening the habitat and thus to increase in tiger population in the reserved areas. Means its objective was to safeguard the survival and maintenance of the tiger population in the country. Various tiger reserves were created in the country. Today, there are 47 tiger reserves in 18 states of India. This project has helped in strengthening the habitat and to increase the population of tiger in the reserved areas. Now, next topic is migration. Migration means to move one place to another place. So we know that animals move from one place to another to escape from extreme cold or to breed or to find food. Birds, fish, whales and butterflies are some migratory animals like Arctic tern. It is a migratory bird and it makes the longest migration from South Pole to North Pole when it is winter in the south and summer in the north. Then this bird moves from South Pole to North Pole. Okay, Arctic tern makes the longest migration. And there are many other birds, whales and fishes, okay, which move from one place to another place. And they are called migratory animals. Like some fishes move from one place to another place to lay their eggs. Okay. And after hatching their eggs, they return to their original place. So, they are called migratory animals. Next topic is deforestation. What is deforestation? the cutting down of trees on a large scale is called deforestation. Means the cutting down of forest and using that land for other purposes is called deforestation. Deforestation has adverse impacts on the environment. The effects on the environment are, first is, it affects balance in nature. Means we know that forests serve as a home to a variety of animals that depend on each other for food and other things. Means for many animals, forest is a home, and destruction of forest adversely affects the food chains, thus disturbing the balance in nature, because forests provide food to many animals, many things. So when we cut down the trees, then it affects the food chains and disturb the balance in nature. So first is, it affects balance in nature. Second is global warming. So as we have already learned that trees use carbon dioxide to prepare their food. So when forests are cut down, the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere goes up, which results in the increase in temperature and cause global warming, means increase the temperature of the earth. Third is, disturbs the water cycle. Now, how it disturbs water cycle? We know that trees bring rain. So, the decrease in number of trees results in decreasing rainfall, means it will decrease rainfall. So, it disturbs the water cycle, which ultimately leads to drought. Means it disturbs the water cycle and leads to drought. Now next is desertification. Now what does it mean? What is desertification? Cutting down of trees is also responsible for the change in physical properties, like it changes the nutrient content, texture of the soil, okay, and deforestation exposes the topsoil by agents like wind and water that are responsible for soil erosion. Means by wind and water, nutrients washed away and soil become eroded, and the erosion of top layer of soil exposes the hard rocky layer which have less humus, means the soil become less fertile, okay, which have less humus and less fertile. In this way, fertile land gets converted into deserts, and this process of converting fertile land into desert is called desertification, okay. So it is also a effect of deforestation. Desertification is when the fertile land gets converted into desert. This is called desertification. Now the other effects are, it reduces water table. Water table means level of groundwater. So deforestation also affects the water holding capacity of soil, which ultimately reduces the infiltration of water into the ground, okay, and it causes floods as well. It means what? Deforestation reduces water table. Next is depletion of resources. Deforestation also leads to the depletion of sources like wood, food, medicines, etc. because these all are forest products, And if we cut down trees on a large scale, then we cannot get these products. So it will also deplete some resources. Next is habitat loss. Means loss of precious wildlife is the major effect of deforestation. The natural habitats of many wild animals are destroyed due to deforestation, and as a result some animals die while some other migrate to other region. So it is the major effect of deforestation, habitat loss. So these are some effects on the environment. Okay, means effects of the deforestation. Means deforestation has adverse effects on the environment. Now we will study causes of deforestation. That what are the causes of deforestation? The main reason of deforestation are, first is human beings are the main cause of deforestation. We cut down trees to fulfill our needs. Means we cut down trees for our needs. Like if we want to use land for some purposes, then we cut down the trees. So human beings are the main cause of deforestation. Forests are cleared to use land for the cultivation of crops, construction of houses, roads, factories, etc. Okay. So these are the main cause of deforestation. Means we cut down the trees to fulfill our needs. Second cause is overgrazing by cattle, sheep, etc. destroy grasslands and young trees. Third is forest fire is a natural cause of deforestation. Natural disasters like floods, earthquake and drought are some other reasons of deforestation. Okay, means forest fire is a natural cause of deforestation. Flood, earthquake and droughts are some other reasons, other natural reasons of deforestation. Now our next topic is conservation of forests. Means now we will discuss that how can we save or conserve our forest. So first way is reforestation. Now what is the meaning of reforestation? The planting of new trees. Where forests have been destroyed is called reforestation. Means by planting new trees we can conserve forest. The Forest Conservation Act 1980 and Wildlife Protection Act taken in 1972 deal with the conservation of forest. Means these two acts deal with the conservation of forest, and the main aim of these acts is to preserve and conserve forest and to meet the basic needs of people living there. Okay, means the main aim is to preserve and to conserve forest. And second way is recycling of paper. Means we know that paper is made from trees. So recycling of paper is also a way by which we can conserve forest. By saving paper, we are helping to save trees. And by this way, we can also save energy and water because paper is made from trees. So if we recycle the paper, it means we are saving trees. So paper should be recycled. And what is recycled paper? Recycled paper is made from waste paper. Okay, so we should recycle the paper. But not all varieties of paper can be recycled. Okay, tissues, napkins, and paper towel, they cannot be recycled. Okay, tissues cannot be recycled. So all varieties of paper cannot be recycled. Now, what are the advantages of recycling paper? First advantage is we can save the trees. Okay, and the other advantages are, first is it saves trees and it also saves energy as well as water used for manufacturing paper, because water is used for manufacturing the paper, so we are saving water also. Okay, and the other advantage is that the use of harmful chemical will also be reduced, because some chemicals are used to make paper. Okay, we use harmful chemicals, then if we recycle the paper, it means we will reduce the use of harmful chemicals.
Students, your today's homework is solve assignment number 1, which have been uploaded on Edqua, and prepare for test. So this ends for today's lecture. Thank you.